Now, I came to the UK in 2023 and this is 2025. And in 2 years, I built my credit score to 984. In this episode, I'll be showing you how I did this and how you can do the same in 2025. Now, if you're new, welcome to Life with Faith Aminaho. This is a channel where we share real talk, real advice, inspiring stories, and guidance on how to live and thrive in the UK. Now, before we go forward, let's talk about what a credit score is. A credit score is like a number that shows lenders how trustworthy you are at paying back, loans, at paying back credit. It shows them how reliable you are, and a lot of the time, it determines, how much you're going to get, how long you're going to get it for, and at what interest rate you're going to be loaned this money. Why is this important? In the UK, the UK works with credit system. One of the things that you need a credit score for is loan/credit. So, for example, you want to buy your house, you want to buy a car, or even a phone contract. Credit score is part of what they would look at. Is a huge determining factor that lenders will look at to be able to approve credit or loans for you. So if you need a loan for anything, the credit score is super important. It's important to say that the higher your credit score is, the more reliable you are to lenders, and the better interest rates you're going to get, and the more loans you're going to get access to. Now, the second thing that a credit score can do for you, or why you need a credit score, is in order to, if you're renting a property, for example. So if you're renting a property, if you're new in the UK, you already have this experience. Landlords, and renting agencies want to see your credit score, want to see how reliable you are at paying your bills for them to rent you a house. So that's part of the reasons why you need a credit score. A solid credit score means that you have a larger security deposit for utilities, mobile phones, and even car insurance. So the higher your credit score is, you're seen as a low risk, customer to agencies who, could save you, and this can save you a lot of upfront costs. Now, the next thing you need a credit score for is actually employment opportunities. You would not believe, or part of the things that surprises people is that some employers will look at your credit score, especially if you're working in a finance, in the finance industry, in a finance company, a finance role. Most times, employers will look at your credit score to see how reliable you are, what kind of person you are, and how you manage credit. Now, the last thing, you need a credit for is just peace of mind. Like, having a solid credit score just gives you peace of mind. It gives you a sense of financial security. It gives you options and flexibility as well. Whether you're looking to make a big purchase, or to start a business, or to buy a house, you just have that peace of mind that you can get the credits and the rates that you want, favorable rates and credits, that you want or that you need at any point in time. Now that we've talked about all of these things, let's talk about some of the things that you need to do to maintain your credit score, and some of the key factors in building a credit score. Number one is paying your bills on time. This is very, very important. How, if you spend money on anything, on your credit card, or you've got a phone contract, or you've got rent, or you need to pay bills, you need to pay your light bill, whatever bill you need to pay, please make sure you pay your bills on time. I am of the opinion that you pay your bills the day before they are due. Meaning, like, the latest you can make any payment is the day before it's due. So if your rent is due tomorrow, please make the payment today. You can set up a lot of the times direct debits to ensure that your bills are paid on time. The next thing that affects your credit score is credit utilization. This is where a lot of new immigrants in the UK make mistakes. So by the time you've come to the UK, you've heard, I need to build a credit score, so I'm going to get look for a credit card, and then you get a credit card. Your credit card is supposed to help you build credit history. Your credit utilization should always be below 25%. Now, if you're using websites like Experian or ClearScore to check your credit score, you see that sometimes using above 10% of your credits, available credit, actually has a negative effect. So I always try to keep my credit utilization under 10%, sometimes, under 5%, because really, is credit. My focus is to build credit. You don't want to live on credit. This is very important. Please don't live on your credit card or whatever loan that you've gotten to build your credit score. Don't live on it. So your credit utilization should never be up to 20%. At most, emergency, say do or die affair, there's a gun at your neck, at your head, a knife at your neck, 25%. Don't go above 25%. This is very, very important. This, keeping your credit utilization low shows lenders that you're not living on credit, that you're responsible, you pay your bills on time, and you've got a firm grasp on your finances. And one of the things that also affects your credit score is getting a credit card or a loan. Now, if you're new in the UK, you'd come into the UK with absolutely no credit history, right? So you need to get a credit card to be able to build your credit score. So not having a credit card or a loan for this particular purpose is going to have a negative effect on you. It will just take you longer, to be able to build a credit score. And depending on what you want to do, how long you want to wait to buy your house, how long you want to wait to buy a car, and if you're going to start a business in the next couple of years, if you want access to loans and things like that, how long you want to wait. If you don't want to wait too long, you want to be like me, please get a credit card that you would use responsibly. Now, the next thing that also affects your credit score is registering to vote. Now, when you come into the UK, a lot of people don't know that you need to register to vote. You need to register on the Electoral Council, and that registration actually shows, lenders that you are who you say you are, where you say you are, and you're located in that position that you say, this is my address, this is where I am in the UK, this is where I'm living. When lenders see that, and agencies that, check this credit, or agencies that, sort of mark this credit score, I don't know how to do it. They actually look at the electoral register to see if you're registered there. So that's one of the first things I want you to do. So if you're not, on the electoral register before now, as we speak, or once you get to the UK, make sure that's one of the first things you do. One thing that really affects your credit score, to me, is being on top of your credit score, like checking it regularly, monitoring your credit. Very, very important. If you're like me, I would recommend checking your credit score minimum every month for you to see how your credit utilization affected your credit score. Sometimes that's part of the way I built my credit score. I kept checking. Sometimes I check every week until it's updated, and a lot of these websites will show you why your credit score is changing up or down. If it's going up or it's going down, they'll show you why. And they'll tell you the reason why your credit utilization went up, or you absolutely did not use anything in your credit card. It actually has a negative effect. So one of the months my credit score fell by almost 100 points because my credit utilization was 0 for that month. So I didn't remember to use my credit card that month, and when I went to check, I saw my credit score had fallen, and I had to now start using credit from the next month, or from the moment I found out. So monitoring your credit regularly is one of the things that will affect your credit score, because it will keep it top of mind for you and help you know what to do, and if you need to improve, where to improve, and what to do. That is part of the reason why you need to monitor your credit score. Now let's go to back where I come from. We say the cocoa of the matter, right? That means let's get to the meat, let's get to the main thing, which is how you, as a new immigrant, can start building credit in the UK. How can you start building credit in the UK? Now, if you're new in the UK, you might be wondering, how do I start building credit when I don't have any history here? Now, this is part of the problems everybody faces when if you come from any country that you're coming from, and your credit score is fabulous. When you get to the UK, you have absolutely no history of credit. You can't import your credit score from another country into the UK. You've got to start from scratch. So how can you do this? Number one, the first thing that you're going to do if you get into the UK is take out a SIM contract. As simple as this is, I think, one of the easiest things that you can do in the beginning, because you've got no credit history. So it might be difficult for you to get a credit card, but you can get a SIM contract. They've made this very, very easy for you. You get 2 year SIM contract on any network, O2, EE, doesn't matter, just get and start from there. After you've gotten a SIM contract, you want to make sure that you have a bank account. Now, when you have a bank account in the UK that you're using for your transactions, that gives you a stepping stone for the next step, which is to get a simple credit card. Now, the first credit card I got from my bank, the bank that I use. They gave me, a credit of £500, after I came to the UK. So you can imagine, I don't think I spent up to £50. I spent more than £50 on that £500 credit card. So getting a simple credit card is your first step. So the way, when you keep your credit utilization low and you pay your bills off on time, and then you keep doing that, and your credit score starts, you register in the country, in the credit score system that you're in the UK, you're utilizing credit, you've got a SIM card contract, and then you've got this one, you are on the electoral register, it starts counting for you. Now, after using that credit card, I think I used that credit card for maybe 6 months, and it was increased to, I think, 1,500. After it was increased to 1,500, it just kept going up from there and going up from there. The more my utilization stayed low, and I just continued building my credit score from there. So the second thing you can do, the next thing that you can do rather, is to get a simple credit card. Is always easier or best for you to use your bank, because some banks would create credit cards specifically for people that don't have any credit history, like immigrants. So on this kind of credit card, these simple credit cards, the interests are usually low. The interests are usually low, so it's just easy for you to maintain and easy for you to use. You've got sometimes 3 months purchases. You can spread your purchase over 3 months and not pay any interest on them. It's important for you to take advantage of offers like this from your bank. Now, there are also other simple credit score builders, that you can get from other agencies. Go to Google, check online, and you'll be able to find some. Apply, and you might get. And when you get, like I said, most times the credits that you're offered in the beginning is usually really low. Sometimes 500, 1,000, 1,005, whatever the amount is. Just take that, knowing what you want to use it for, and you start building your credit from there. If you find it difficult to get a credit card, the next thing that you can do is to get a credit building loans. Now, these are loans that are designed specifically for this purpose. They are simple loans that enables you build credit in the UK. So you get these loans and then you pay off instrumentally. You spread the payment and then you pay off instrumentally. So if you're not able to get a credit card in the beginning, please search for these credit building loans and get one of them and start building your credit from there. And then the last way you are going to build your credit score, from my experience, is to register on the electoral roll. The last way you're going to build your credit is to register on the electoral roll. Make sure that you register on the electoral register. So you go online and you let the government or the local government, the council, wherever you are, you let them know where you are living, and put yourself on the council, and your credit score would start building from there. If you do these simple things that I have said, or that I've said today, you would see your credit score get to where mine is. It's not difficult, it's not magic. It's as easy as ABC in my experience, and you'll be able to do the same if you do these things. So one tip I can give is, if you can help it, I know when you come into the UK initially, there are lots of issues surrounding housing, surrounding issues with landlords. Sometimes when you come into the UK, your first house or the first rental property that you get is not sometimes ideal. Is you're just looking for somewhere to lay your head, and you're going with what you have available at that time. And as you live in the UK, you start to discover what you want, where you want to get houses and things like that, where you want to rent your house. Please make sure that you don't do that frequently, because moving houses frequently actually is a detrimental factor to your credit score. It actually affects your credit score negatively. So if you're frequently moving houses, if you're moving from one flat to the other, the credit score system looks at it, like this person is not responsible with their finances. Maybe they can't pay their rent. That's why they're moving from one point to the other. For whatever reason, your credit score would fall. So try to stay in one rental property as long as you can. Ideally 2 to 3 years. Ideally, till you've got your credit score to the point that you've gotten your credit that you want your credit score to be, and then you can move forward from there. The next tip I'm going to give you is please do not apply for multiple credits at the same time. So I think, I try, in my own experience, I try to make sure that be it, buying a phone, that's credit that you're applying for, or buying something that you're going to spend, maybe buying TV or buying whatever that you want to buy, or you apply for a credit card and now you want another credit card, you want to keep building your credit. Don't apply for credit close to each other. So I always try to give, or I tried to give minimum of 6 months. Sometimes, I give beyond that. And then sometimes I'll go to I'll go to my bank and I'll check and I'll see that I've actually been offered, credit at a higher amount. So when you apply for credit, a hard search is conducted on your credit account, and that hard search has a negative effect on your credit score. If you apply for credit multiple times, the credit score system will assume that you're living on the credit score system, or you're living on credit and not unable to pay your bills. That will affect you negatively. So you'll find that you're in these issues, you're in this loop for a long time where you're unable to get better credit because your credit score is low, and you keep applying for more to be able to increase the amount of credit you have, so that your credit utilization can also increase. So yeah, make sure not to apply for credit multiple times in a very short period. Give minimum of 6 months in between. I would say 7-8 months in between. That is the best way to go in my experience. So when I moved to the UK, this is part of the things that I wanted to work on for myself, because I'm very concerned about the health of my finances and being able to build a future for myself and for my family. So when I came to the UK, I decided to take it slow, start from the beginning. I started reading, I started asking questions, I started looking at the different credit score agencies. I started looking, okay, TransUnion, there's Experian. I started checking, okay, how do they check, how do they rate the credit, what do I need to do? And I started building my credit score slowly from there. So these are the things that you need to do. Please stick to these steps that I have given you, and you would be the next person to testify, like I'm testifying, in the next couple of months, that your credit score will increase. Now let me share a little bit about my experience. When I moved to the UK, I knew that building my credit score was going to be key to me building my financial future. So I put my eye down to learn. I went online, I started checking, I started asking questions. I started actually with Experian to monitor my credit score and to see how it grows or doesn't grow. And for a while I wasn't actually showing up. There was no credit on any credit score tracking website. My credit history wasn't showing. But after a while, I took it slow and steady. Like I said, I started with a SIM contract, and then I got a credit card, a simple credit card from the bank that I was using, and I kept using that. And then after a while, I bought a phone, and I bought the phone on credit, even though I had the money to pay, because I wanted. So I didn't take out a phone contract. I took out a SIM contract. Just it's another discussion for another day. I bought a phone rather on credit, and paid over 6 months to be able to build my credit. And by the time I paid that off, and I checked, and I was using like I said earlier, I was using Experian to check and track my credit score. When I did that, I saw my credit score growing, and little by little, it got here. So that's why I said, let me just share this with us as a family, because I noticed a lot of us do not know how to do this. So thank you very much for listening to the end of this video. Please like, comment, share, and enable YouTube do its thing and recommend our video to other people. See you next week. Bye bye.